Been having a lot of flashbacks lately. Anyway, if you remember our very first episode, I've made every effort to try and forget it personally. It was on the Max Headroom signal hijacking incident of 1987. And as you probably well know, it wound up being the last non-insider job of signal hijacking in the US of the analog era. Now, we finally had our first hijacking of the post-analog era. So, with that, back in February of this year, at least 4 TV stations were hijacked by way of a security breach of the emergency alert system. Now, whereas the Max Headroom incident was a riveting stream of conscious nightmare, this current generation of hackers thought it would be cool to warn of a zombie apocalypse. How adorable.
Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. Follow the messages on screen that will be updated as information becomes available. Do not attempt to approach or apprehend these bodies as they are considered extremely dangerous.
I tell you, these kids today have no imagination. Indeed, it must take some pretty strong-ass zombies to, despite rigor mortis, open their caskets and claw their way up through 6 feet worth of dirt and sod just to go roaming around for brains. But then again, if they can dance like this, who am I to question their strength? Seriously, though, almost immediately after the hijackings, I was getting requests to do an episode about the zombie hoax. But I decided I'd wait a little while just to see if there were any further developments in the case, and better yet, maybe it would get solved. But of course that didn't happen. So I guess we ought to try and get to the bottom of this, huh?
You're watching PBS.
First up on
Monday, February 11th,
2013, at around 3:55 p.m. Eastern Time, the end of a Barney and Friends rerun on Marquette, Michigan's PBS affiliate WNMU, Channel 13, was interrupted by the zombie message. Unfortunately, no footage has surfaced of this. Then, at about 2:25 p.m. Mountain Time in Portales, New Mexico, another PBS affiliate, namely KENW, received the same message. Unfortunately, no footage of this hijacking has surfaced either.
Earlier this afternoon, a bogus emergency alert aired on KRTV during the
Then, between 2:30 and 3 p.m. Mountain Time, Great Falls, Montana CW affiliate KRTV had its emergency alert system set up hacked. Twice. First during an episode of The Steve Wilkos Show. No big loss there.
Change first, right? But if I show you, don't even talk to me, dude. But if I show you, I mean, it might take a month or two, a couple months, you know? But if I show you...
Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living.
You can KRTV, Storm Tracker Weather, Montana's most accurate. You flip, but they flop. You flip, but they flop. Hi, Mark Gill here for the perfect...
Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. Follow the messages on screen that will be updated as information becomes available. Do not attempt to approach or apprehend these bodies as they are considered extremely dangerous. I repeat.
You know, you're supposed to have at least 1 second of silence between the attention signal and the start of the message. I'm telling!
take that into consideration.
And lastly, later that evening, back in Marquette, Michigan, at around 8:35 p.m. local time, another quality show, namely The Bachelor, was hijacked by the same warning that aired the second time around on KRTV. I apologize for the quality of this clip, but it's the only footage of this that has surfaced to date.
The bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. Follow the messages on screen that will be updated as information becomes available. Do not attempt to approach or apprehend these bodies as they are considered extremely dangerous.
In the last few years, the emergency alert system has switched from being mostly a radio-based service to a mostly broadband one. And what I think happened is that somebody was using a Monroe Electronics OneNet EAS computer. Now, this is an EAS encoder and decoder that, as I implied earlier, is run via broadband. Now, some TV stations are apparently just a little bit lazy, just a little bit lazy, in that they never seem to switch out of their factory presets. And unsurprisingly, all the people that got hacked were still using the factory presets on their EAS computers. Meanwhile, I'm the idiot who can't seem to get a job in this field. Yeah. You know, I've got a thing or two to say about this wretched economy and the people in charge right now. I mean,
Local authorities in your area have detected an outbreak of whiny internet show hosts. Please consider these people to be stupid, annoying, and wholly unoriginal. If you happen to come into contact with one of these hosts, remember that you can usually placate them with graphic novels and Mystery Science Theater 3000 DVDs. Once you've done this, please contact your local police as well as the nearest available politician.
they can drown in their own puke. But I digress. The day after the hijackings, Monroe Electronics sent out a statement saying that broadcasters should not be using the factory presets on their EAS computers. Broadcast professionals, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that same day, WNMU claimed to have tracked down the hackers. Well, sort of. They were supposedly able to figure out that the attack originated from overseas, which of course is real easy to pinpoint on the map. Not that the hackers couldn't have been using a spoof IP address. Hint, hint. And whoever was responsible for the hoax was apparently way too much into anthrax. The band, not the disease. Take another quick listen to the alert.
Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living.
Now take a listen to the intro to the song Fight 'Em Till You Can't from the album Worship Music.
City authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living.
Kids today. We'll be right back. And now max headroom for Preparation H. File your piles with Preparation H. Now available in suppository form.
Max.
Really? That commercial? I think our standards are really dropping around here, if that's conceivable. Anyway, there was this unintentionally funny consequence to all this zombie hoax drama. A couple of days after the hijackings, a radio station in La Crosse, Wisconsin, their little morning zoo crew type show, decided to play the KRTV zombie hoax over the air. And this happened to be on the area's designated primary entry point station. More on that in a minute. And it kind of set off the EAS. and it got sent out to all the other radio and TV stations in the area, and one of the TV stations automatically relayed the broadcast.
Or apprehend these bodies, they are considered extremely dangerous. This warning applies to all areas receiving this broadcast. Turn in to 9:20 a.m. to get updated information in the event that you are separated from your television or if electrical service is interrupted. Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. Follow the messages on screen that will be updated as information becomes available.
I mean, somebody really had to know what they were doing to be able to hack into this system.
TV station.
And they play it over the,
It's insane.
Well, I suppose you'd like to know what I think happened with this whole zombie thing, huh? Lucky me. Well, what I think happened is that some bored IT or broadcasting students got a hold of the IP addresses, Internet Protocol addresses, of a few PEP radio stations. A PEP being primary entry point, and every area's got one, every region's got one, and this is the station that the authorities go to give the initial alert message, emergency alert message, and then they play it, and then it gets sent out to the EASs of all the other stations. They're all required to have one. The difference being that all the relay stations have the option of playing or not playing a relayed, delayed broadcast of it. So what I think happened is the hackers sent out the message masquerading as a PEP station, and some stations, they don't change their factory codes as we discussed earlier, and sometimes they just go right through. And not only that, they automatically do the relayed broadcast, delayed broadcast, if you will. And, just pure goodness all around. Tell you, the laziness of some of these people just never ceases to amaze me.
I love you. You love me. Despite our trouble. I slipped you some X and a couple roofies too. Now you are going to love me too.
Sorry about that. Every time I think I've got that idiot under control, he finds a new way to get under my skin. Don't worry about the drug thing. I grew up in the era of the rave. I mean, I have a pretty damn high tolerance. Sometimes it almost makes me glad to be a child of the 90s. Anyway, I think this whole zombie thing was actually very good, very healthy. I think, like the Max Headroom thing, it was a good, valuable lesson in security. Now, I know this isn't going to be the coolest thing I've ever said, but I think
How do you like it? Yeah, I know I'm better than that stupid archive guy. Ooh, here's something old. I'll yell at it and get famous.
the internet. Okay, that's it for today's archive. Join us next time as I read all the whiny hate mail that I know I'm going to get from that last little hijacking bit. See you next time.
Is this thing on? I can't tell. I'll assume it works. You ain't seen nothing yet. Just wait till Halloween. Or maybe Christmas. Yes, that will be nice. I will finally exact my revenge on Christmas. Are you counting the days, man? Let the terror slowly creep over you like a... Creeping Terror. That was a great movie. Don't know why everybody hates it so much.